All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Hearing none. It passes. We do have, I believe, one item that's up for a public hearing this afternoon. And the process is that we will receive a report from the planning department. Afterwards, we'll ask if there's anyone that is going to wish to testify during the public hearing, be sworn in. They'll be sworn in. Well, then, after that, we'll then proceed with the public hearing, and we'll listen to both sides, those in favor, those against, and even folks who may have questions. After that process, we'll close the public hearing, open up to committee members for questions, and then we'll open up to all council members. The only difference between then and this evening at 6:30 is that the committee will make a recommendation after the public hearing, either in favor, against, or to table an item. So with that, Ms. Biviano, could you please read in the first item that's up for public hearing? Thanks.
Sure. The item up for public hearing is a resolution approving the renewal application of Mary Politz to have agricultural property at 1661 Dreisbach Drive placed in an agricultural district pursuant to revised code section 929.01 and declaring an emergency.
Yes, Mr. Antonucci.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. Frank and Mary Politz are requesting renewal of agricultural district designation from the state of Ohio for their property at 1661 Dreisbach Drive. The Politzes have 13.72 acres of land devoted for agricultural use. Agricultural designation will provide benefits in the form of property tax relief, and the planning staff recommends approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll ask if there's anyone here wishing to, I don't think there is, but for procedural sake, if there's anyone online or here that wishes to testify before the committee, please be sworn in. Is there anyone here wishing to testify? Anyone? Okay, we're not hearing or seeing anyone, but we will still open up the public hearing and ask if there's anyone wishing to testify. Anyone? Not hearing anyone. We'll close the public hearing portion, ask if there's any committee members with questions, any council members with questions, and then we'll repeat the same thing tonight at 6:30. Thank you all. We'll now move on to the balance of the agenda, of which we will refer all the items on the regular agenda, short of any questions or comments, and move into the new list of legislation. The first item, could you please read in, Ms. Biviano? Thank you.
The first item in this committee is item number 4, and it's an ordinance approving the addition of property located in Coventry Township, Summit County parcel number 2200706 to the Coventry Akron Joint Economic Development District Zone 2, authorizing the mayor or his designee to amend the Coventry Akron JED agreement to include Summit County parcel number 2200706 in the Coventry Akron JED Zone 2 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Volleman.
Yes, hi, Chairman Fusco, members of the committee and council. A couple years ago, we came to you and when we were amending the Coventry JED to extend it for an extended period of time, but also to create the idea of JED 2s, which would be new areas added to the JED that previously weren't in the JED that would provide for a different split in sharing the tax. This is our first property to be developed under JED 2. It's a residential rehab facility, and it's on Schwartz Road, and looking consent agenda would be great.
Very good. Open it up to questions from committee members and or others. I've not seen a whole lot of questions. So I guess I have a question in terms of the first, what's the life of the contract for the first one, JED 1?
So it was a 99-year agreement.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time.
Oh yeah, and we've extended it another 99. So it's
Plenty of time.
yes.
So not many of us will be here then.
Not. I don't think so.
All right, good. No, I'm just curious in terms of the terms and conditions.
Yes.
From the first one. And
We have for future generations.
yes, very good.
Paved
No,
the
that's
way.
excellent news, and this is a good first step, obviously.
Yep.
And so I think we're all aware, I believe, of the spirit and the intent of the JED. agreements that we have with our neighbors. Not hearing any questions or comments, I reckon I'll ask for a consent agenda if there's a recommendation for consent. So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you all so much on that item. I believe item number 5 on the new list of legislation is Viviano.
Item number 5 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement or agreements to grant an easement on city-owned property situated on Summit County parcel numbers 6859582 and number 6727717 in the city of Akron, Ohio, to the East Akron Neighborhood Development Corporation, EANDC, for the purpose of allowing access to Middlebury Plaza and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Mr. Volleman.
Yes, thank you again. In 2004, I believe it was, we did the Dave's, the Middlebury redevelopment out on Arlington Road, we call the Dave's Plaza now. There was a 20-year ground lease for them to buy down the property, eventually own it, and they've done that. So we're at the point now where we're going to transfer ownership of the property to, it's actually Middlebury Market LLC. It's a subsidiary of EANDC. And they're also refinancing. They've come to an agreement to keep Dave's Supermarket there for another 5 years. While the title company was doing the work on the refinance, they discovered that the entrance to the plaza, as well as the main sign on Arlington, was built on the wrong parcel. Wasn't part of the land that we were leasing to them. I do not know how that got through the title company, all of that 20 years ago, but the new title company found it. It is land that we own. It is land that has been used as their entrance and for their sign for 20 years. But the bank for the refinancing is requiring that the city provide an easement for those uses.
Very good.
And they're planning on closing Thursday. So if we could suspend the rules, that would be great.
Somewhat of a sense of urgency.
Yes.
Very good. Questions or comments from anyone? Is there a recommendation for suspension of the rules with a favorable report?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Against? Very good. The ayes have it.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Ms. Viviano, number 6, please.
Item number 6 is an ordinance authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement or agreements with the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition to pursue and obtain funding and to construct various projects associated with the Summit Lake Vision Plan and declaring an emergency.
Yes, very good. Ms. Graham Moore?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the
DeFiore.
committee. So as you know, Michelle DeFiore has championed many of the Akron Civic Commons projects, including projects in Summit Lake historically, and she has been championing this project as well. She's presenting today.
Thank you. I wanted to give you an update on the Summit Lake North Shore project. That work began in 2016 as part of the Akron Civic Commons work, and we developed a vision plan with the residents and completed that plan in 2018. One of the goals of Akron Civic Commons, as you know, is to create great civic commons spaces along the Ohio and Erie Canal, Summit Lake Trail that are welcoming, accessible, and equitable for all residents and visitors. 2 priority projects were determined as an outcome of the Summit Lake Vision Plan: the Ohio and Erie Canal Summit Lake Trail and the Summit Lake North Shore Activity Area. The Ohio and Erie Canal Summit Lake Trail was completed in 2023. The Summit Lake North Shore Activity Area building package was recently awarded by the Ohio and Erie Canalway Coalition to Kavanaugh Construction. The project includes the following amenities that the community requested. The project has been developed over the past several years and includes a resident steering committee. There's a boat, canoe, and kayak launch. There's a combination concession storage area for a canoe kayak to develop a share or rental program, a mowed grass area and edge seating to view the lake, boardwalk area for fishing, shelter area, picnic tables, grills, and seating, and pathways between these amenities, along with shoreline cleanup. When we originally committed to this project, there was a $10 million estimate, and 50% of that was slated for city funds, and the other 50% was fundraised by Ohio and Erie Canalway. So since that time, our project costs have slightly increased. We had some challenges in actually bidding the work and procuring a contractor, but we have worked through those issues and have a contractor on board. So since the original budget in 2022, which was 3 years ago, our project costs have increased to about $1,123,330, and there's a request for an additional 50% of that share for Akron to participate in that work. We do feel that these costs are reasonable given escalation, given the challenges that we've faced, and also the commitment to give the community these amenities. There are some additional fundraising that is needed to do to get wholly to this point, but this allows us to get to the baseline of that work.
Very good. Thank you. Questions or comments from anyone? Is there a time frame on this piece of legislation?
Consent is fine.
Okay, very good. So you'd mentioned it's $1.123 million?
That's right.
And we're going to be responsible for half of it, is that correct?
Well, 500,000.
500
And
of the-
OE
okay, I
Of
missed-
that, I'm sorry, and
misheard.
OECC will be fundraising the rest of that.
Okay, so they're going to fundraise the balance.
That's right.
And these are coming out of ARPA, the 500,000?
I don't believe so.
That's, the attachment says so.
Yes.
So I'm going.
Yeah, so we'll explain this at 3 o'clock. So this is going to be part of the substitution process. So because this change order came in after we were able to obligate the funds.
Yes.
And we had planned on doing it beforehand, since we didn't have a fully executed contract at that time.
Yes.
We are making this part of the substitution process.
Okay, good. So you said consent agenda is okay with this?
Consent is fine.
Okay, very, very good, because we could do that, and if there's some questions that may come up at, I believe, 3 o'clock he had mentioned, then we could revisit next week if needed. So and that
That's
adds
fine.
up. That's okay. Further questions or comments from anyone? Whatsoever, anybody? Okay, I'm not hearing or seeing anyone. Okay. Is there a recommendation for consent agenda?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Very good, the ayes have it. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks. With that, this planning committee meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Ms. Viviano.
Our next committee today will be the Rules Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. Those committee members are McKittrick, Fusco, Amobian, Connor, and Davis. Again, that's the Rules Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. Thank you.